Hello, listener, and welcome to Book 3, Chapter 16 of Bite-Sized Tales, the audio flash fiction podcast.
This week's chapter has two stories in one, the underlying romance and the well-known tragedy on the surface. Catulet and Mousetegue. Written and read by Dot Moore. Once upon a time there lived two creatures who weren't supposed to be friends. No, come on, Mom. It's not supposed to start like that. Do it right. Oh, all right. Have it your way then. It was a beautiful, crisp spring evening. I snuggled into my mother's comfort as she began the story that I'd heard dozens of times before, but could never quite get over the magic. Maybe it was the way she told it, or maybe it was the gentle wholesomeness of the story altogether. So you see, they met in a most casually unorthodox manner. He caught a quick glimpse of her through a high window as she looked out across the world, and it was that singular moment that struck him, skewered him right through the heart. I smiled. I loved how animated she would get as she poured her heart into the love of these two. Mom really is a true romantic at heart, and it only makes sense she'd come up with a story like this to comfort me. I think it's a comfort to her, too. Now, this love was unconventional, almost forbidden. There'd been a centuries-long feud that was based solely on an inability to broaden perspectives and beliefs, going back generations. But that didn't stop them. She was a beauty, long, silky hair that flowed across her back, and the most brilliant blue eyes like deep pools of sapphire. And he had tawny hair and a small frame, but there was a boldness to his presence. Let's call her Josie and him Roscoe this time around. It was cute that Mom thought to change their names each time she told the story. I think she liked coming up with them, and truth be told, I love it too. Roscoe appeared from behind a shed, cautiously lurking around the corner. He whispered into the night, calling out to his lady Josie. She appeared silently behind him with grace and a sweet purr at his ear. They spent many an evening meeting like this in the hopes no one would ever come to realize the truth, that they were in love. The purest love for the most unsuspecting pair. I wonder if I'll ever find a love like that. Struck so quickly, so surely by a connection to someone that I'd risk so much for them. Is that love even real, or is it only meant for stories? They came up with a plan to either reveal the truth of their relationship or simply run away together, fight the world's misunderstanding together as one. It wasn't long before they realized just how impossible getting their families to understand would be. Josie was heartbroken to leave her home and the comforting ease of everything around her. Yet her love for Roscoe superseded any of the accommodations, outweighed all the pampering, and removed any hesitation that she was making the right choice. How do you know, though? I thought I did. Turns out, the first spark isn't always the one that lights the fire. Sometimes it takes a few strikes of the match to cause that burst of flames in you. I've always believed in that spark, that first glimpse of love. It's a hope that keeps us searching, keeps us wishing that one day we'll find that love in someone and they'll return the feeling. On the evening of their planned meeting, Josie was interrupted by another, a caretaker that's watched over her since she was young. She tried to keep Josie locked away, trapped in a cage like a little bird. But what is there for little birds to sing if there's no one to hear their song? At the same time, when she did not meet Roscoe as planned, he sent friends to see why she'd been delayed. It was then he discovered that Josie was being purposefully kept away. He and a few friends snuck into Josie's home and made their presence known. They caused such an uproar that Josie was able to get away and still meet Roscoe as intended. This is my favorite part of the story because my mom changes it up every time. I know how it should end, or at least I thought I did. Heartbreak is inevitable, especially for a romantic. But I thought my mother's lessons could shield me. I thought by her example I would know what to look for. But even now I see how foolish that thought is. My mother paused for a moment to tuck a loose hair behind my ear. She looked at me and whispered, "You are so incredibly special. And though it may not feel like it right now, you will find someone that knows just how to love you." Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes, and I sniffled as I curled myself into my mom's embrace. She stroked my hair and cleared her throat. Where was I? They met under the light of the full moon. The heavenly glow danced off Josie's eyes, and Roscoe was speechless in awe of her. Josie knew. She knew Roscoe was her one and only. For there was no earthly reason the universe would make a cat and a mouse fall in love. I burst out a laugh. "Mom, really? That's what you went with to help me through this?" "Well, yes. I thought Josie Catulet and Roscoe Mousetegue was perfect play on what you were dealing with. I got you to smile, didn't I?" I leaned forward and wrapped my mother up in a hug. "Yeah, Mom. It was perfect. Thank you." She smiled and swept a stray hair from my face behind my ear and hummed sweetly, "Always my fair Verona." Author's note. This story was inspired by The Oddest Thing, and it took a lot of turns and twists to come out to this, but basically, our neighbors have indoor-outdoor cats, and one morning when I was taking my son to school, he noticed a dead mouse in our neighbor's driveway, and I had to explain to him what had likely happened. That somehow sparked the idea of cats feuding with mice, and thus the Catulets and Mousetegues floated into my mind. Originally, I had every intention of writing this from the perspective of the cat and the mouse, but I wanted that one fact to remain somewhat hidden until just the right moment. I really like where it ended up as a light romance, and hope you have as well. Thanks for listening.
This chapter of Bite-Sized Tales has been brought to you under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Intro and outro music is Fantasy Motion by Alexander Nakarada, provided under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, we'd greatly appreciate reviews and recommendations to your friends. For more information about our authors, please visit bitesizedtales.com. We look forward to reading to you next time.